Joining us now, Ian Bremmer, president of the Eurasia Group. Ian, great to catch up with you. What's your sense about what the Chinese authorities are doing here with this kind of marginal easing of COVID restrictions? Is it simply a gesture in response to some of the public outcry, or do you think that it's part of a longer-term relaxing of measures?
Look, I think there's a real effort here. There is a clear pivot away from focusing on lockdowns towards focusing on vaccination rates, particularly for the over 80 and those with significant pre-existing conditions. That you're not going to hear the word mandate, but if you don't have a terminal disease and if you're not getting chemotherapy, and those are these exemptions, they're going to be working very hard in urban areas to get all of those people vaccinated, boosted by the end of January. And that does reflect a desire, first of all, not to have major demonstrations occur again, and secondly, to respond to popular outcry that was not coordinated. It wasn't a matter of political opposition. It was 2 years of people having enough. So I do think there's an effort to accomplish that. But we need to understand that given the lack of efficacy of Chinese vaccines and continued concerns about hospitals getting overwhelmed, that reopening is going to be cautious. It's going to be slow, and there might be backtracking if local officials find that they have, explosive caseload that's too great for them to handle.
And presumably, President Xi is also wanting to make sure that there's not really long-term damage to the economy beyond what it's already suffered, and trying to get beyond this phase of retrenchment that the Chinese economy has been in.
I would say that is absolutely not the short-term priority. Xi Jinping, in his party Congress speech, was not focusing on economic growth. He was focusing overwhelmingly on security. International security, domestic security, prioritizing political stability in the country. And that means that if Chinese growth has a 3 handle or a 4 handle instead of a 5 or a 6 for the next year or two, but they don't have 1 million or 2 million or even 5 million, according to some studies, Chinese dying from COVID, that is something they're prepared to accept. And this wasn't just in the run-up to him getting his 3rd term. In his private bilaterals at the G20 summit in Bali, there was no sense from Xi Jinping that he was moving away from zero COVID. He felt very confident the Chinese model was the correct one, and senior party officials weren't planning on moving. So I really think this is an incident where the population of China made a real difference in the kind of policies we're seeing out of a dictatorship. That's a pretty big deal, frankly, Mike.
For sure. Now, if President Xi's mostly focused on security as a matter of the top priority, where does that leave it with regard to U.S. relations? I mean, you had a little bit of a flare-up of apparent tensions over Taiwan, and we have companies talking about moving production out. Where does that sit?
There are still companies that are going to be moving production out, especially when you look at anything that feels in advanced technology like it can be dual use for the consumer economy as well as for the military economy. Those export controls from the United States in October, those aren't going away. If anything, they're going to expand. And so clearly that creates a level of focused decoupling between the United States and China. But the relationship, I think, is more stable today than it was certainly when Pelosi was traveling to Taiwan. That 3-hour meeting between Biden and Xi Jinping was about normalizing the relationship, about finding areas where the two sides can compromise and cooperate, not just in areas where there's going to be very strong competition. And Xi Jinping is not looking for a bigger fight with the Americans right now. If you look at China's policies towards the American private sector since his 3rd term, as well as towards the Germans, the French, American allies around the world, it's been wanting to ensure that those economic relations overall, the trade relationship, remains robust.